What is up, everybody? Today I'm looking at the evolution of Darth Vader. Now, this was the first Star Wars evolution I ever made for my channel, and I've mentioned it before, but Star Wars is probably my overall favorite franchise. I wouldn't say any of the particular films are some of my favorite movies, except for maybe Star Wars Episode 5. Other than that, I think just as a whole, Star Wars I find to be very interesting. But nonetheless, the movies themselves I find to be very rewatchable, very exciting films. So if this is the first Star Wars video, I think since then I've done Palpatine, and I've done Boba Fett. Definitely need to do Luke Skywalker at some point. You know what? I love the Star Wars heroes, and I think that they're just such good archetypes. And I think Anakin works as a good Star Wars hero in the first few movies, but he has a bit of a bad boy streak, a little bit of a bad boy streak, you know? And then he goes full bad at the end of Episode 3, and then gets full on redeemed at the end of Episode 6, when they reveal that there's an even badder bad, although I guess they do reveal that in Episode 5 a little bit, but you actually see him in Episode 6, Emperor Palpatine. So, nonetheless, I made this video, and I really didn't know how I was going to do, and compared to, I forget what the videos I had done before it were, I think Chucky had just happened, Hulk, so when I did the Star Wars one, it didn't do, super great numbers compared to the other ones before it. But since then it's done slow and steady views for the past 5 years. I think it's past 5 million views or something now. I'd have to double check. Might be giving you guys all nothing but false information. But either way, I'm very proud of this video. It's kind of hard to distill down Star Wars stuff into a simple 4-minute video. And this video is exactly 4 minutes, which is I find very odd. I didn't plan it to be exactly 4:00, but that's just what it is. Yeah, it's hard because the story of Star Wars is so interweaving and there's so many different characters that it's hard to be okay, so let me just pick this one character and what goes on with this character during this movie and how are the changes happening and stuff. It's very MCU-esque in that way, where there's a lot of stuff going on sometimes, so when you need to pick out one character, you just gotta be okay, so what's important for this person? Or even if you watch a horror franchise, and I'm talking about the Halloween series or the Nightmare series, let's say for my animations on Freddy. Most of those movies are spent with the people that he's chasing. Less so with him. So when you're distilling down a franchise like that, it's quite a bit easier because he's not on screen as much. Whereas with Star Wars, especially Episode 1, 2, and 3, Anakin is a pretty main character. I hope that I did a pretty good job with distilling him down, because I love Star Wars and I hope that my Star Wars videos do a good, do justice to the series. With that said, I want to jump into the evolution of Darth Vader right now. So, without any more further ado, let's jump into it. Mamma mia! You can kind of tell by the comments that were chosen that not many people have been asking for Darth Vader. At least the comments that are chosen here, they don't have that many likes or anything on them. So, people weren't expecting Darth Vader.
Darth Vader might be the most iconic villain of all time, but his humble beginnings aren't so fondly remembered. From this
I always liked how slapsticky Episode 1 is compared to the rest of the series, so I had to include that weird creature that just farts. And I had to have Anakin have some sort of reaction, and then Jar Jar as well, because he was in that scene.
From the sand dunes of Tatooine to the planet-destroying Death Stars, let's go through his live-action evolution, animated.
So obviously all the fonts there are harkening back to classic Star Wars fonts.
Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, a young enslaved Anakin Skywalker, apparently born from immaculate conception, sports a bowl.
Yeah, so I used to make fun of my friend for having what looked like a bowl cut. And it wasn't really a bowl cut, but we used to say, hey, give me that colander, or colander, mom, and then it would be a snip. So this is kind of using my previous information on how bowl cuts are made, and he's doing it to himself.
Cut and dirty clothing, after having his blood tested by a stranger.
Okay, so I'll respond to this. Qui-Gon Jinn, technically, he's not a stranger to the Star Wars franchise, and everybody knows his name. But to Anakin Skywalker when they first meet, he's a stranger. So I scripted that to be oh, he's a strange man who basically kidnaps him. And people have been whoa, you don't know that Qui-Gon Jinn is named Qui-Gon Jinn? Yeah, I know that, but he's a stranger to Anakin Skywalker, and this is the Anakin Skywalker evolution, not the Qui-Gon Jinn evolution.
He earns his freedom by winning a pod race, abandoning his mother on Tatooine to join the...
Alright, so this little thing, this little trophy here, that's actually the PS2 game trophy, or maybe PS1 game, it's been so long, that you would win if you like won the pod racing game. You can actually see the symbols on it are based on obviously the PlayStation symbols and buttons and stuff.
Tatooine to join the Stranger Space Cult.
So you get Yoda here, and I have Yoda kind of looking like he does in the CGI version, less like he does in the whatchamacallit, the original version that came out. Because that one was originally a puppet, and they put the CGI Yoda from episode 2 over top of him later on.
The Jedi Order. After the stranger dies, his apprentice Obi-Wan takes him under his wing. He's then made to wear Padawan robes and
Obi-Wan could be an interesting evolution too.
sport a braid. Meanwhile, Anakin develops a crush on Padme, the Queen of Naboo.
Yep, I'm always trying to think of like little jokes on the inside of here. So when you pause this, you can see you like little boys, obviously. A plus P, so Anakin plus, so say Palpatine, Padme, Padme? I think I'm saying that wrong, but whatever. Are you an angel, which is obviously a reference to his line in the movie. And it says, sign not intended for Kevin Spacey. So at the time, I think Kevin Spacey had been called out for being a creepo.
Years later, in Attack of the Clones, Anakin is taller, with darker hair and darker clothes, and a longer, unrecognizable face.
Yeah, so I had to like figure out how to make him go from Jake Lloyd to Hayden Christensen. Now, obviously, they're different actors, so I had to like make him taller, make him older, and then have him react to how his face looks different. So this same animation is used in when he's like touching his head here. It's used in the Jason video originally, where he like kind of like does that when his face is like first revealed, I believe.
Recognizable face.
And I've used that same kind of style of animation, you know, here and there, everywhere. Just like anytime like a character needs to kind of be like, huh, what's going on with my head here?
It's assigned to guard the now Senator Padme.
So I drew Padme in her most revealing outfit, more or less, from this film. This is actually a costume that I read online was designed by George Lucas. The guy's just an old pervert.
And makes her fall in love with him by means of,
So if you watch the Thor video, where his love interest is also played by Natalie Portman, he does this same thing with the eyebrows. So that's actually a reference to this video. So if you go back and watch Thor, Evolution of Thor animation that I did, he does the same thing. And it's like a very similar style face that he makes.
Creepy stares. Later, after reuniting with his lost mother.
So yeah, so this is one of the few videos, and I'm not even sure if I did this in the Palpatine video or anything, but like it's like Star Wars.
Stairs?
I actually had this swipe away the stuff on screen, and then it swipes in the new stuff here, which is something I've never done before. I'm not sure if I've ever even done it since.
Later, after reuniting with his lost mother, she soon passes away, and he avenges her by slaughtering an entire village of...
So for like the parts where he like slices people, I actually looked at the how it should have ended for one of the Star Wars movies. I forget which one, and I saw how they like did the slicing, because I didn't want to like show blood, obviously. And I believe ever since after Episode 4, it's canon that it cauterizes. Man, I'm not good with words right now. But it like heats the cut up so it doesn't bleed, and that's so I had to kind of make it look like it's hot. So kind of basically stole it from how it should have ended. You can tell them if you want.
Tusken Raiders, but luckily Padme is cool with this.
And you can show violence like beheading and stuff in Star Wars, and it seems to be fine. But my Jason video was age restricted for like 2 weeks because I beheaded like Pamela Voorhees.
This time, Anakin battles against...
Yep, you'll see like Padme's jump up here. Couldn't really
Padme is cool with
do much in this tight outfit.
This time,
so she just has to kind of squish down and then like jump up. It's not much animation there.
Anakin battles against Sith Lord Count Dooku and loses his arm, but he obtains a robotic replacement. He also secretly marries Padme, despite the Jedi's...
So yeah, that's I think this is the first time where you see the heart. So I've had this heart animation come up a few times in different animations where it will then suck away everything on screen.
Code that forbids love.
So obviously this is not the actual Jedi code. It's just a funny little version of it where it's like, nah, no kissing at all. That's Jedi don't do that, which I think is ridiculous.
Years later, in Revenge of the Sith, Anakin's clothes are even darker. His hair is longer, his face is scarred, and he has gloved his robo-arm. In an effort to save his pregnant wife after experiencing premonitions of her death, he seeks help from Chancellor Palpatine.
So obviously, this Palpatine design is not nearly as good as the actual Palpatine one from his video. And obviously, I think the Palpatine video might be actually the first one that was put into 4K. But I was able to use Anakin Skywalker for a lot of that reuse in that scene.
A secret Sith Lord who makes Anakin his apprentice, dubbing him Darth Vader.
So originally was going to have someone do an impersonation, or me myself do an impersonation of Palpatine saying Darth Vader and put that under, but instead I just put it up to like the narrator, just like
a secret Sith Lord who makes Anakin his apprentice, dubbing him Darth.
Yeah, so that he just kind of lip syncs to the narrator stuff.
Darth Vader. Now evil, Anakin's eyes turn red and yellow, and he chokes his wife Padme.
Yeah, so I kind of like that choking sound. It's kind of like, it's both funny and freaky.
Ultimately becoming the cause of her death.
Now, obviously, if you've seen the movies, Anakin choking I keep trying to say Palpatine when I'm talking about Padme. Anyway, Anakin choking Padme doesn't actually kill her right away, but she does die later in childbirth from like a broken heart. So him choking her isn't really the cause of her death, but he is the cause of her death. So I just had to like kind of like make that as clear in the video as possible, because I've had people complaining before, like he didn't kill her from choking her, she died from childbirth. But it's like, no, it was actually because of what he did. That is why she died. But anyways,
he goes head to head with Obi-Wan, but loses the high ground, which results in his remaining limbs getting sliced off and being burned in lava.
So yeah, that transition there, I actually really liked how I figured that out. I was like, how am I going to have him roll down this hill, look like he's in lava? So I just decided to like have it go from like the darkest color that I use in the background,
getting sliced off, and
then as he's going down, and then it will fade in on the, when it goes in, when it zooms in, it will fade into red, so it looks like he's in lava. Like, it's pretty simple stuff.
Lava, but he's rebuilt with a shiny, life-saving black suit, a fancy robe with a cape, and a perfectly symmetrical mask.
Yep. So I somewhat reworked stuff there. So if you hear the the word cape there,
the cape.
I'll play it again.
Life-saving black suit, a fancy robe with a cape.
So with a cape. So it's like very robotic sounding. It's because it used to be at a different part, and then I was like, oh no, I kind of want this to be, the cape to be set there, so that when the rest of his suit comes on, then it goes into his cape, and then it goes into his helmet. So I try to think of these things now when I'm writing the scripts, but like back then I'd be like doing this and editing after, and then I'd look at my animation, I'd be like, no, I want this to be in this order there, so I'd have to go and change things. So I try to be a bit smarter now.
In a perfectly symmetrical mask. 19 years.
I actually kind of like the look from episode 3. It's very clean, very symmetrical, like is mentioned in this video. Obviously Stanton does an amazing job. If ever you hear anything weird in the recording, it's probably because I've changed things up or moved things around or something. Stanton is an amazing narrator, and I use that same swiping technique to get rid of him off screen here, which actually does save time with animation.
Years later, in Rogue One, Vader's codpiece is large and wrinkly. His robe is above his shoulder pads, and his control panel is simplified. His helmet is less symmetrical, with a smaller breathing apparatus, red-tinted lenses, a stockier neck, and a prominent widow's peak. He attacks a rebel fleet carrying Death Star destruction plans.
So this is probably the most complicated animation in this video. It's somewhat of an action shot. A lot of characters on screen, and I wanted to make sure that the lasers looked like they're actually hitting the lightsaber.
Barely escape his grasp.
And I had to make sure that one of them made it through. Now, a lot of these characters here are actually reuse. Well, obviously it's all the same body, basically. And the characters' faces are all reused, and I'll try to remember which videos they were from.
He attacks a
no, I can't remember what video this guy's from. Might be from Predator. His bald friend in Predator.
Rebel fleet carrying.
This guy, that's Freddy Krueger, I believe, or at least somewhat Freddy Krueger-ish. I might have changed some stuff up.
Death Star destruction.
I forget what this guy's from. He's from something I did.
Plan.
And this is one of the Hulks, the Hulk from 2003's face, just slightly modified. And then, oh no, this is the one for Predator. I knew I used him somewhere. I can't remember where the other guy's from then. And there's just like other characters here that are just barely popping in. This is the brother from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the older brother. You see, there was another character that was just there. Oh yeah, that's the guy who feeds soup to Michael Myers. That's that's Tobey Maguire from Spider-Man, the Spider-Man trilogy. That's Tony Stark from obviously Iron Man. That's not his newest face from like his newest animation, but that's like one of the ones that I drew before. And then yeah, this is that guy.
His grasp.
And that is me saying there. I just pitched it down.
A New Hope features a more smudged-looking suit with a normal codpiece and periodically see-through lenses.
So one of the things that I was having to think about when I was making this video is like, do I want him to be breathing throughout it? Because I was like, will that be distracting? Will that be annoying? And eventually I decided like, yeah, I do want him breathing. But like every now and then I do have it like kind of like cut away and not hear it.
Vader manages to defeat Obi-Wan and then heads into battle, getting...
I also like that animation too of him slicing Obi-Wan. Let's watch it again. Good job, me. Yeah, because it does a pretty good interpretation of Alec Guinness, kind of like not fighting him, and then it's just quickly, as soon as he's hit, he disappears, and he falls. Now, I don't even think that the actual video had a slice around him that is like visible when he's like sliced, but I added that in just because it's animation. I can add that stuff in pretty easily. And I kind of like even how his lightsaber falls. Very cartoony.
Heads into battle, getting knocked into space while chasing a young pilot, narrowly avoiding his battle station's destruction.
And also kind of like, there's a lot of camera moves going on here. And this video is a far cry from the Jason Voorhees video where I use absolutely no camera moves at all. I do have things truck out a little bit when he goes to New York, but that wasn't even a camera move. I just made his character model smaller inside of that video itself, inside of that animation. This one has like camera moves for days, especially for like these more action-oriented shots here.
And Empire Strikes Back.
And then I have him like going, and then it's as if the ship goes through the camera when he's, and then you can see the explosion more. So yeah, it's like it goes through, he goes right up there, and then it disappears. I think I saw a very similar shot in a Michael Bay movie recently. Not that it didn't give me inspiration for this. And this is one of the few times where I actually use like real explosions and real effects for some of the stuff in here. Most of the time I do have like an explosion animation that I do use, and especially with like the Godzilla video, so I had to kind of make a decision at some point to like stop using real effects and stuff, because like especially when I went up to 4K, because they just wouldn't look good if I like stretched them out anymore. Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back. Vader is back, and this time he's much shinier.
This might be the first time that I used this shiny, or this like shoe polishing animation.
This time he's much...
Let me know if that is the case. I believe it is, because I can't think of a character that would have had to use, but I used this recently in the Ash Williams one where it's like him getting shoe shined again, but instead of getting shinier, like his rips and tears just alter a little bit.
Shinier.
It's a good way to kind of like make a big change. I think I used it in the Ant-Man Evolution, possibly, and a few other ones.
His robe is now under his shoulder armor. His control panel is more robotic, and his helmet has a less prominent widow's peak, darkened lenses, and a larger breathing apparatus. He learns that the young pilot
So yeah, not a huge fan of how much Palpatine's wobble is going on here, but I do like the other effects going on. Like kind of looks like a TV, kind of like a poltergeist kind of style stuff. I think it looks pretty good.
Chased is actually his son Luke. He decides to turn him to the dark side.
Yeah, so I was trying to think, what's the funniest thing that happened here?
But things don't quite work out. In Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, so I was like, let's have him like bring up a sign here. And then also, if you haven't noticed, the lower thirds are actually all little Death Stars. I use the Star Wars font. I think it's called like Star Jedi or something.
Vader sports the same look as Empire.
And then this is a reference to Luke Skywalker doing that in The Last Jedi, which is a movie that I've actually come around on a little bit since I first saw it. I think it's underrated inside the actual fan base, although overrated on Twitter, if that makes any sense. It's just a pretty good movie with some weird choices.
As his son invites him to join the light side.
And this is like another kind of like how do I get him to show that he wants him to join the light side? I was like, let's make a little cake, and then how do I make it seem like he doesn't want to join the light side again?
But Vader
he tosses the cake in his face, obviously.
resists, and once again.
And then I kind of like how the cake just kind of slides off of his face there.
Join the light side, but Vader resists. And once
yeah, you can see it there when he starts doing his action
again.
stuff. And then this animation of his swiping and stuff is kind of taken from the Chucky video where he gets hit with an axe, like his kid hits him with an axe.
But Vader resists, and once again loses an arm.
And then obviously his truck's out, he's sitting down, and then Palpatine here. Now I did get a chance to reuse this animation with the Palpatine Evolution, so you get a better version of Palpatine doing this. One day when I do Luke Skywalker, you'll get this again, but with a better version of Luke Skywalker.
Seeing Palpatine overpower Luke, Vader overthrows his master, defeating the Sith. He allows Luke to take off his mask in order to see his son with his own eyes, revealing his pale, burnt face.
Now, I've had people comment like, oh, why when he takes the helmet off is he not pale and burnt already? Because I wanted to kind of show his evolution, like I do with like his suit and stuff throughout the video, so it's not going to all happen all at the same time. And I did have to look at quite a bit of reference to figure out like what his helmet looks like underneath, because you don't really get a great look at it in the movies.
With his own eyes, revealing
and that sound, I thought that sound was like Primo when he's like takes his helmet off.
His pale, burnt face, sometimes with or without eyebrows.
Yeah, so I guess in the special edition, at some point, made the DVD edition, they got rid of his eyebrows. These big caterpillar-like eyebrows that fill the screen up. Sebastian Shaw, I believe, is the actor's name. They didn't think, oh, maybe his eyebrows would have burnt off too. It never really bothered me, but you know what? It's a change that is fine. I'm fine with that special edition change.
Sometimes with or without eyebrows, and then he passes away. While his remains are burned in ceremony, his Force ghost looks on in peace. Or, in angry young angst. While this would be the end of Vader's story, his mask would appear in the sequel trilogy.
Yep, so I like the animation of something bouncing in like that, and the sound effects that I use for it. And I just like the design of the melted Vader mask too.
This would be the end of Vader's story. His mask would appear in the sequel trilogy, guiding Kylo Ren on his own evolution.
Yeah, so I'll probably never do a Kylo Ren evolution video. I just don't think there's quite enough there. If he ends up being in more movies somehow, maybe. People did ask me to do a Rey evolution too. Again, I just don't think there's quite enough there with her as a character. Like maybe I'll do like a Leia video, but there's just not that much there right now. Although I did hear that she might come back for some other kind of sequel or spin-off or something. So maybe she will get enough there eventually to get her own evolution, and I could do like a evolution of Kylo Ren / Rey or something. I don't know. But anyway, either way, people had trouble hearing this line that Stanton says here.
Can someone grab this guy a cow?
Now, you might hear, can someone grab this guy a cow? He's not saying cow, he's saying cowl. Like, it's another word for like robe. And like, Rey says that same line to Kylo Ren at that same point in the animation, in The Last Jedi. So this is very like, I want to say inspired by The Last Jedi coming out, but this is the most recent video the most recent Star Wars movie that I have seen, so I added a few references to it. So I just wanted to include a little bit. And I don't remember if like Kylo Ren has a mark on his shoulder, but he must.
Thank you all for watching.
And that's basically the video. I don't think there's anything interesting in the end card to talk about. Oh wait, there's a basket hound. So I do sneak in a basket hound.
Check
just
out
watch
the
that.
Patreon in the description below. And if you're strong with the light side, subscribe for more animations. Heck, Siths too. We don't discriminate.
Yeah, I still don't discriminate. If you do want to subscribe, even if you're evil in some way, subscribe. I don't care. I can't read into your soul when you subscribe. But if you're good with the light side, also subscribe, because I'm here for the good side here, guys. But alright, let's talk a little bit more about this evolution. I'm very proud of my first Star Wars video. Is it perfect? Probably not. Is it outdated? Yeah, it is outdated now, thanks to the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. And should I have updated it when that show came out? If I had all the time in the world, sure, I would have updated it. His look is a little bit different in that show, especially if I've seen the action figures in stores, and they give you a bit of a better look than some of the nighttime shots. And his suit looks like a proper evolution that's kind of like a stepping stone between, you know, episode 3 and episode 4 and Rogue One style stuff. And you also see like the burnt mask, or not even burnt mask, but like the mask that's been like sliced in half or whatever. It's a very cool look, and if I had not already done Darth Vader, I would have probably started working on that evolution after I saw that. But in a world where I already did Darth Vader, I'm pretty happy with this video. I'm not going to rush to update it. Eventually I will probably update it a little bit. I like the designs. I might tweak them a little bit. I like all the suit designs, mainly like the face designs of Anakin, young Anakin, old Anakin, middle-aged Anakin, all those Anakins that I think could use a little bit of updating, and like the hair and stuff could use a little bit more detail in it. But for the most part, I'm quite happy with how this video turned out. Obviously, yeah, I would like to add an Obi-Wan Kenobi show. If I ever did another update, I might also add in some of the animated versions of Darth Vader, because there are some interesting looks, especially in the Clone Wars show, in the I want to say it's called Rogue One, but now the name is escaping me. But anyways, there's a whole bunch of like cartoons and stuff. I think he might be in the Droids show, or is he in the Ewok show? I don't know, you guys. Let me know. I'm not gonna watch that show to find out. If he is, I'll look it up and I'll find the episode that he's in. But either way, it could use an update. And if I did, I'd probably add in some of the other versions that at the time I wasn't really including animated versions inside of these videos. I still don't include animated versions with every single video. Sometimes the video is already long enough. Once the video starts to hit over 4 minutes long, especially the animation part on its own is over 4 minutes long, I'm not really looking for other things to add to it. I'm like, okay, this video is already long enough. And at this time, I think I had just gone full time, and every video I had done up until that point had been nothing but live action. So I wasn't going to include animated because I really didn't know how people would respond to that. Obviously, that was a foolish notion because my channel is called TellItAnimated, so obviously some of the people watching would probably have enjoyed that I included animated versions of some of the characters. Hindsight's 20/20, guys. But either way, I thought this video was long enough as it is. Yeah, if I ever do it now, just kind of tweak things a little bit, then add, you know, Obi-Wan show, add some of the animated versions. You know, that's like adds like another 2 minutes to the video, and it could be like a nice like 6-minute long evolution, which would put it around the same length as like Krampus. There might be some other animated versions that I'm not even thinking about in my head that might be interesting. Let me know what you guys thought of this commentary track on this video. Let me know what you guys thought of the original evolution of Darth Vader when I put it out. I'm pretty proud of this video. I hope to do more Star Wars videos in the future. So yeah, let me know what other Star Wars characters you guys would like to see. And until next time, I've been Aaron, and I'll tell you something later.